So these are precepts that are giving one an outline, sometimes in a kind of ritual form. That is, we do it just as a thing and without necessarily thinking that deeply about it. But the whole point of deep practice is to think deeply about many things and not to think at all about other things. So if we think deeply and we think wide, think deep, think wide. When we're thinking wide, we think of the consequences of our actions. We think wide, we think of our effect on other beings. We think wide, we think of long-term effect. Yeah. So sometimes short-term discomfort, but long-term benefit. Yeah. So we think wide. We think, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's good for other people in the long run. I will train myself. We think wide. We think deep. We think, where do my actions, my motivations, my speech, where does it come from? What's the source of it? Why do I do these things? We think deep. We start to question. This keeps us always in touch with karma, in touch with the truth of our experience, and begin to unravel some of the worldly conditions that normally take over, that we just follow because often we don't really have a lot of choice. But for a day, you can make a choice. And maybe you make a choice today, that will help you to remember that you can make choices and you can adjust. Well, I can't do that, but I can do a little bit more of this, and a little bit less of that. And that's exactly it. A little bit more of this, a little bit less of that, and you do that, and it gives you a little more possibility. Yeah? Because we're creating a bit more free space. And so if we think of something like, entertainment, beautification, and adornment, this precept, you think, why do we do this? It's generally because social pressure makes us feel happy, friendly, and so forth. It's a lot of waste of time and energy, money, resources, wrong direction. Do we need to do this? What do we need to live in harmony with each other? We need to go and watch football? No, we just need to be trustworthy, kind, concerned for others' welfare. Who needs entertainment when you have good friends? So we think deep like this. Yeah. We think deep, we think wide. So, though these precepts, you may keep them for the day, or if, you just say, look, I'll determine this and really consider it for as long as I'm here today. This evening, maybe I'll need to have a little soup or some dinner with my friends, my family. Okay, these are not immoral. These are just kind of training standards that you can rise up to when you need to, when it's a suitable occasion. Yeah. But clearly some of them, alcohol, we don't really need that. And alcohol, when Winipiko and I were just coming through the airports, just noticing how many these duty-free areas, and just so many people just going buying whiskey and gin and vodka, and thinking, it's really disappointing. And it's not cheap. oh dear. You think, oh dear, why are human beings? Oh dear, what good does this do? Anybody? I mean, a dog wouldn't drink alcohol. You know? So one just feels a sense of disappointment in human beings wasting their beautiful, clear intelligence, clear, clean, straight intelligence being contaminated. Yeah. Being contaminated. Something beautiful, clean and clear, deliberately contaminating it. What good comes out of that? Bad speech, bad action, irresponsibility, violence. And we pay for it. And we export it to others. You're thinking, how very disappointing this is. Very disappointing. So I'm pleased to, fortunately, have the good fortune to associate with people who do take these things seriously and who do commit to at least the 5 precepts. You keep the 5, you will not do much. You will not do much harm. Yeah, and you will do good just by avoiding doing harm, avoiding contaminating yourself, avoiding abusing other people. This is already a major advancement for human beings, because mostly human beings are damaging each other, abusing each other, contaminating each other. Yeah. So I'm very, these occasions help to lift me up. Those who wish to hear teaching, prepared to take it on, prepared to put forth effort, prepared to give up things. You know, this is noble. This is noble. And whatever your thinking minds are doing, you know, you feel disappointing moods or emotions and thoughts going a bit crazy and a bit worried, you're already doing a massive amount of good just by keeping the 5 precepts. And you should think about it deeply and treasure it and value it. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's life has difficult conditions that are not easy to solve. We have to be patient and bear with this. What we can do is we can keep the 5. No reason not to keep the 5. If you're strong, healthy, reliable, you know, you can keep the 8. At least for a day, you can keep the 8. Yeah. And so if you keep these, you think, yeah, I feel pretty good. It's okay, you know. And then you've got some freedom. Yeah. You don't have to worry about, you know, going out in the evening. When I go out in the evening, I go out in here. I go out to a peaceful place in here. This is my evening entertainment. Go in here, go to somewhere peaceful. This is my evening entertainment. So I encourage you to join the party. Anyway, this is beginning to talk about karma, skillful action, and refrain from unskillful action. This is the theme of this day, and also same thing tomorrow, but I'll say probably different words tomorrow, but because this is a powerful, perhaps absolutely essential teaching of the Buddha. And without more ado, we'll talk about that later, but let's pick up this resolution. And resolution is irreplaceable. Without resolution, everything breaks down. So let's make the resolution together. Yeah. Together we take refuge. Together we dedicate harmlessness, truthfulness, restraint, sobriety, simplicity of conduct And this is the way we do it. We pay homage to the Blessed One who gave these teachings, priceless teachings, out of no gain for himself. Spent all his life giving these teachings away freely, without asking for anything in return. And we're still heirs to that tremendous wisdom and that tremendous compassion. So let us pay our respect to the Blessed One. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Sanghāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Sanghāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sanghāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi sanghāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sanghāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi sanghāṃ saranang gacchāmi.
Ti saranagamanang nititaṃ.
Amma bhante.
So this going for refuge, and then going for refuge is almost our request. I'm making my effort to reach out, my effort to please have pity on me. Please, may I go to a place of refuge. So we put ourselves out. We don't say, come here. We say, I go there. It's not a convenience store. And then in order to go for refuge, say, well, if you're serious about this, you want to come here, you better take some precepts, otherwise you're not going to get in. So here are the 8 precepts, and please determine what you can, but the 5 is absolutely essential. And if you could take on the brahmacharya for the day, shouldn't be any problem. And then clearly you have the refraining from eating in the evening, entertainments, and just taking a rest when you need it, purely to rest your body. So let's go through this. Pāṇātipātā veramani sikāpadaṃ samadhiyāmi.
Pāṇātipātā veramani sikāpadaṃ samadhiyāmi.
So I honor and enter the Dhamma by taking on the resolve to refrain from harming living creatures.
I undertake the precept to refrain from taking the life of any living creature.
Adinna dana veramani sikāpadaṃ samadhiyāmi.
Adina dana veramani sikāpadaṃ samadhiyāmi.
And to take the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given.
I undertake the precept to refrain from taking that which is not given.
Brahmacharya veramani sikāpadaṃ samadhiyāmi.
Brahmacharya veramani sikāpadaṃ samadhiyāmi.
And to take the precept to refrain from sexual activity.
I undertake the precept to refrain from any intentional sexual activity.
มุสาวาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิ
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Undertake the precept to refrain from false speech.
I undertake the precept to refrain from false speech.
Sura meraya majjapama tatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Sura Meraya Maja Pamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drink and drugs which lead to carelessness.
I undertake the precept to refrain from consuming intoxicating drinks and drugs which lead to carelessness.
Vikala bhojana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Vikala Bhojana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Undertake the precept to refrain from eating at inappropriate times.
I undertake the precept to refrain from eating at inappropriate times.
Nacha gita vadita visukkatassana malaganda vilepanadharana mandala vibhusanatthana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Na cha gita vidita visukhadasana mala ganda vilepana dharana mandana vibhusana tanana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from entertainment, beautification, and adornment.
I undertake the precept to refrain from entertainment, beautification, and adornment.
Ujjasana mahasana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Ucha sayana mahasayana veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
I undertake the precept to refrain from high luxurious sleeping place.
I undertake the precept to refrain from lying on a high or luxurious sleeping place.
Imani atta sikkhapadani samadhiyami.
Imani atta sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani atta sikkhapadani samadhiyami. Imani atta sikkhapadani samadhiyami.
Imani atta sikkhapadani silena sukhating yanti silena bhoga sampada silena nibbodhing yanti tasma silang visodaye.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Please bow 3 times. First bow. Second. Third. Lapa, we would like to request for the teachings of the Dharma throughout the day by chanting the request for the Dharma. So, brothers and sisters, page 6. Let us all now bow 3 times. First bow. Second. 3 times. So let us all chant together the request for the Dharma. Brahma chaloka dipati sahanpati katanjaliyan divaranaya chata santi dasata parajaka jatika dese dudangma anukampi mang bhajang. The Brahma God Sahampati, Lord of the world, with palms joined in reverence, requested a favor. Beings are here with but little dust in their eyes. Pray, teach the Dharma out of compassion for them. Bow.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ dhammāṃ saṅghāṃ namasāmi. So today we're dedicating this day to reflect upon, listen, reflect upon, and see how we can put into practice the Buddha's teachings on karma. Just taking these precepts, we think deeply and we think wide. Yeah. What does this mean? We think deep, we look into where do my actions come from, where does my speech originate from, what are the sources of my action through speech, through body, and by thought. What kind of thoughts do I follow and entertain? What kind of speech do I follow, listen to, and entertain? What kind of actions do I follow, get excited by, adopt? What do I refrain from in any of these bases? What kind of things do I not think about deliberately? Not because I'm stupid, because I don't feel they're coming from a good place. If I'm jealous, irritable, angry, upset, unbalanced, disoriented, I'm cautious, very cautious about what I say. I realize this can be, acting upon this, I can create impressions that really affect other people and also establish particular habits, ways of thought in my mind. So we make that effort to refrain. Making an effort to refrain. We make an effort to sustain, to consider, to listen, to pick up, to adopt ways of thinking, attitudes that perhaps are unusual in this world, not commonly understood, not commonly followed, but taught by noble ones, people one respects, awakened beings, sometimes a little bit difficult, mysterious, but coming from a place of peace, wisdom, thoughts of forgiveness, thoughts associated with wise equanimity, thoughts associated with gratitude, thoughts associated with respect for other people and for other forms of life, even fish, cows, pigs, insects, which most people don't think about. Yeah. But the Buddha did. He encouraged people to respect life. So we think deep. Causes, where's my intentions coming from? We think wide, what are the long-term results of my ways of thinking? Do I think in terms of wealth, status, power, esteem, being popular, being entertaining, being the special one? Because that's very common in the world. People want to be the best one, the fastest, the quickest, the strongest, the most beautiful, the most powerful, pushing ahead. Wise ones step back. These are not worth following. Because they lead to more competition, more jealousy, more dispute. Wise ones say, if you adopt nothing, nobody can steal it from you. If you minimize what you have, nobody's going to rob you. You immediately decrease the amount of criminality. Yeah. And you pay attention to what's worth paying attention to, which is your own heart, the one that will never leave you. Your own heart will never leave you, even when other people abandon you. Yeah. Your heart won't. Even when you lose your wealth, you don't lose your heart. You lose your job, you don't lose your heart. Yeah. You lose your health, you don't lose your heart. You lose your life, you don't lose your heart. What's worth cultivating then? Just add it up. Right. So you think, okay, long term, heart's going to benefit. Short term, maybe doesn't look like so good. Not popular. Yeah. Long term, short term, worldly values, not winning. Long term, spiritual values, succeeding. Tonight, no regret, no anxiety, no enemies. No drive to get somewhere, become something. Peaceful, worthwhile. Long term, we think even this very lifetime. Most of us may be thinking a week, maybe a month, maybe a year. Maybe that's as long as it goes. Buddhism is a long span. Well, this life might be a little bit difficult, but next life, and let's not do any shortcuts. But if you don't get that, at least think of this life. What you do now in terms of where that is going to go, where it's going to take you in 30 years' time, 10 years' time, 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 50 years' time. Because the teaching is cause and effect, and that these effects of our causes stay with us long term. Cannot be just switched off. You can't get on a plane and get away from them. You can't switch it off. A lot of things you can just switch off, switch the channel. You can't switch the channel on this one. It stays with you. Yeah. It's called karma. Karma. Bear in mind, karma is about body. The body doesn't do that much harm. Doesn't come from the body. The body just wants to survive, breathe, eat, sleep. No other motive. Speech, more powerful. But speech is just words. In one way, it's just words, isn't it? You could read a book, read the words out. It's not words, it's the heart intention behind the words. Whether the words are aimed to injure, to dismiss, to dispute. Those come from the heart. Those energies, those attitudes, those motivations. It's called cetana, cetana. And the Buddha said, cetana hang bhikkhave. Bhikkhu's volition, intention, is impulse in the heart. This is karma. This is karma. And karma will have results. Results are called vipaka. And the vipaka lingers. Sometimes it comes immediately, sometimes it takes a year to ripen. Right? Intention leads to result. Cause, effect, karma, vipaka. There's a sequence there. And that vipaka, that result, acts as the basis for the next series of actions. Yeah? So you look at it very simply. If I've been committing adultery or cheating, oops, bad result, better tell a lie to cover it up. Now I've done two bad things. And then, somebody's going to find out. So I better do more lies to protect that lie. And then I better not see her again because she knows the truth. So, yeah, all these results add up. And then sooner or later somebody finds out. And then you've got to have a lawsuit or more lies, more denial, and so forth to try to cover it up, you see. It's karma vipaka. So, and then, even if nobody finds out, you establish that action, that sexual misconduct, as okay. That's normal. That's a basis. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. So, and you can associate with people who agree, yeah, that's fine. Everybody does that, it's okay. That becomes then a basis for action. So fresh action comes from what you've established as a standard or a basis or a direction for your intent, your actions. Understand that? And as we see every now and then newspapers, somebody's been 50 different sexual abuse cases with all his friends who are saying that's okay. This whole thing explodes and it becomes kind of, when you have so many of these, you think, a little bit's okay. Well, so it becomes sort of a platform. Now we see something like, we took a precept to refrain from drinking. You ever seen businessmen come to a meal? Do they ever stop drinking? No, normal, friendly. Politicians shake hands, have a few drinks, discuss foreign policy over a beer. No problem, normal, friendly. Yeah. Normal. Okay. Go out for dinner, have a glass of wine or two. Normal, friendly, cultured. Okay. Okay, maybe you don't do any much harm with that. You have one glass of wine. Not a big problem. Not a big problem. But what becomes established is drinking wine, beer, and alcohol is okay. And they say, drink responsibly. Drink responsibly. The way to drink responsibly is to drink water. Drink responsibly, don't get completely drunk. But of course, you think, well, one's fine, a glass of wine's fine, then, yeah, a couple of glasses of wine is okay. Now, well, why not finish the bottle while we're here? And then maybe you can maintain restraint, but you drink with somebody who doesn't know how to restrain themselves. Yeah? So you're not a drunkard, but you encourage alcohol as normal, and some people can't restrain. Or they get into the habit of, oh, I got a big problem, have a drink, forget about it. Oh, I'm fighting with my wife, go and have a few beers and forget about it. You know? So it becomes established as a normal way of avoiding responsibility, of not directly meeting situations responsibly, of saying it's okay if your mind isn't very clear, that's fine. And from this basis then, your speech goes a bit stray, your jokes are a little bit dubious, your agreements are shady, shady. You know what that means? Business deals that are not entirely legal, but never mind, we'll pay somebody, pay a lawyer to get us through this. This kind of thing. Pay a lawyer. So he'll make sure that all the criminality is, we can avoid it. Or we just pay a bribe somewhere, they don't mind. Pay some officer a bribe, we'll get through. Yeah. One of my relatives was a food chemist, so she did a degree in looking into really examining the quality of food, whether it's got any harmful additives in it, whether it's pure or not. So she was a very good, got top grade in food chemistry. So she goes to work for a multinational corporation, and they're trying out this new kind of coffee. And what they do when they get the coffee is they want it quick. So they just scour all the bushes. They don't pick, they just rip the bushes with the machine. So all kinds of rubbish gets in there. And then they cook it up, and they've got to make sure it stays preserved. So they put some chemicals in it to make sure the coffee doesn't deteriorate. And then they want to package it, so they've got to put something in it to keep it preserved. And then they sell it to people. So she said, well, I don't know about this. They said, well, we've got to get this stuff out for Christmas, because Christmas won't buy it, people buy lots of things. So we've got to sell this stuff for Christmas. She says, I can't do a proper series of checks on that time. It takes to go through this very thoroughly. I need a good few weeks to examine it very carefully. Well, it's got to be out by Christmas. We don't have time. It's got to be out by Christmas. So, but it won't be pure, tested. It doesn't matter. We'll get it out by Christmas, and if we get discovered, we'll just pay some money afterwards. We'll make 20 million, and we pay £1 million fine. So what? So what? It's only people's health. And you look at these food, and that's okay. That's legal. Or they pay £1 million fine, but you can't get people's health back. Right? And you see this kind of sort of near criminality, particularly in food. Get the food processed, get it properly preserved, make sure it can travel a long distance. Oh, it's some meat. Well, the meat's going to go bad, so we put to inject it with something to keep it preserved, so it doesn't go bad. So you eat the preservatives. And they haven't tested it. Or they maybe tested it a little bit. And they find out, like 5-10 years later, it's funny, all these people are getting sick. Oh, right? Well, pay a fine. It's okay. Main thing is make the money. Yeah. So you start to look at this level of deceit, which is not just deliberate lying, it's not really wanting to know the truth or live the truth. Not really taking that much care and attention how we affect other people. It doesn't matter that much. We'll pay a fine and we'll make some money. And we'll have a private jet, and we'll have banquets, and we'll have holidays in the Persian Gulf, and we'll have a yacht. And frankly, the wealth of other beings doesn't matter that much, as long as they're healthy enough to pay the money. This is kind of low-level, criminality, but it doesn't get called criminality, it's called business. Because of the lack of care and concern for human beings. Yeah? So we lie. Lying is okay. And a friend of mine, American, he said, yeah, it's not against the law for the president to lie. Particularly an election campaign, when this person is presenting himself to people to vote for, it's okay if he lies and they believe him and they vote for him based on his lies. That is not against the law. That is legal, right? Because lying isn't that bad. If you get what you want from lying, good luck. The most important thing is to get what you want. Lying doesn't matter. Polluting other people's minds doesn't matter. And you gain power. When you gain power, you can lie some more. And you can violate. Because you've got even more power to do so. So based upon that platform of deceitfulness, you gain power, you gain wealth. That gives you even more greater capacity for your deceit, your lies, your immorality to affect millions of people. Yeah? Right? So, of course, we could create judgments over this president, this prime minister, this bit. Well, let's forget that. It's not our concern today. Our concern today is to take truthfulness very seriously and to uphold it. Even if truthfulness is sometimes embarrassing. Even if truthfulness says, I made a mistake. I tell you I made a mistake. I apologize. Even if it embarrasses me. I accept the fact that I make mistakes. I may look foolish. I ask for your forgiveness. That's a noble person. Someone says that, you say, sadhu, wonderful. Immediately, your mistake, your error, I let it go. Yeah. Because the value of truth has come back. And for that truth, I'm prepared to sacrifice my self-esteem. So we make this valuable. Now, when we look at this long term, think, this person she tells the truth, even if it's awkward. I can trust her. Sometimes she tells the truth, even if it's painful. Says, "Sir, please, I'm sorry about this, but I need to mention something about what you're doing I'm finding difficult." And she tells me, I listen. This one I can respect. No? Because she's guiding me from bad karma, which otherwise is going to sit with me and I don't notice it because I'm not fully awake and I don't notice my habits. So even if I didn't really mean it that much, you value someone showing you, telling you kindly, not critically, but kindly. This is powerful good karma to help and guide another one. This is really powerful good karma. So much so that this, in training as a samana, as a monk, we regularly present our faults to each other and say, I acknowledge this, I see it, I refrain from it in future. And we try. And we say regularly, please I invite you to point out places I'm not seeing in my behavior. And the Buddha said this is the primary gift that a monk gives to another monk. If you don't give them this, you kill them. Because they will go on, unaware, establishing a platform for continuing ignorance. And if we look into the source of all bad karma, it comes from ignorance, not from you personally, but from the ignorance that contaminates all of us. This is why we can't just immediately expect to get good karma just by doing something. Just by obeying something. Yeah, that's safe. But as you can see, you can keep the law in the world and still do an immense amount of harm and never get punished. Similarly, we can go to things on time. We can get to things on time. We can do our chanting. We can sit in meditation. We can do all these outward things without recognizing. You know, when you go home, when you see other people, how's your behavior then? What do you see? What do you not see? What do we adopt? What do we not adopt? We just sometimes forget or get so flooded with all kinds of information and media and messages and advertisements and things to do and things to play and buzzes and bleeps and squeakers and phones and things that you can't think straight anymore because you're always getting saturated. And what are you getting saturated by? Yeah. You're getting saturated by the messages saying, remember, brothers and sisters, let's be kind to each other. Oh no. Remember, brothers and sisters, let's be patient with each other. Let's try and cultivate equanimity and sense restraint. Oh no, you don't get those messages. You get messages saying faster, quicker, more powerful, dynamic, upgrade, buy a new one. That's what you're getting. So you've got to try and, you realize the necessity for restraint and renunciation. Otherwise you're just flooded. There's an avalanche. So we take the 8 precepts. Okay, these are just simple statements that may be not completely relevant. How high is your bed doesn't really matter, particularly. It's the intention behind it. If you're just flopping around, lying, snoozing and lolling, then you're wasting your energy. I don't think that many people are really doing that. But the idea is cultivate an intention to be wakeful, clear, not just dozy. So we look at intentionality, not just outward form. Not just outward form. You know? Yeah, I don't, so we refrain from harming living beings. Okay. So say you're the, leader of a country. I refrain from harming living beings, but I declare war on the country next door. My soldiers can go and kill other living beings, but I don't. I live completely harmlessly. Who creates the worst karma? The soldier who shoots 10 people, or the politician who tells 1 million people to go and kill each other? Who creates the worst? Yeah. Where's the intention? Not what, so that means the action, physical action, is less significant than the intention, right? So, somebody jumps on you when you're walking down the street, somebody jumps on you and you hit them and they fall over and crack their head. Is that bad karma? What was your intention? Did you want to hurt them, or were you just saving your own life? Okay? Consider these things. So you're free from doubt. And how do we really free ourselves from doubt? By knowing intention, which comes from the heart. This is why, to really deepen into understanding karma and creating a refuge for yourself, and a place of resolution for yourself, you have to meditate. What does meditation mean? It means going deeply into the heart. It's not about psychic powers. It's not about even rarefied states of mind. These may happen. But the main thing is you go into your heart and you look at what attitudes, what energies, what mind states are arising and what they're based on. And this is why we calm. We renounce to clear some space. We renounce lots of surplus activity. Yeah. We reflect upon our wish and the necessity for our own welfare, the welfare of others, to get our ethical standards clear, straight, not fuzzy. And the need to sustain them continually, not just one day a week, but ongoing. Yeah. And to sustain them and to nourish them by reflecting and sharing them with others and listening to others who teach us this. We feel confirmed, refreshed, steadied in it. And this allows us to have the singleness of mind, to calm and steady the mind and heart, to gain authority over it. To steady it, to gain authority over the impulses that may have come from somewhere else, not necessarily from ourselves. We just pick up the attitudes of other people without really considering it. Attitudes based upon race, on gender, attitudes based upon carelessness and ignorance. We just pick them up because everybody else is doing it. Yeah? So we have to gain personal authority over our hearts, because nobody else is going to be there when you die. You have to live with it. Don't let anyone else take your responsibility away from you. Even the Buddha says this is freely offered. You pick it up if you want. If you don't want to pick it up, that's your choice. I say exactly the same. I've got no interest in gaining attention, disciples, fame. No interest, zero interest. I only want to do what's right for my own welfare, that will be for the welfare of others. Now you don't believe me, you check it out for yourself. And the very simple thing is that if you consider what I'm saying, what do you want to pick up? What resonates with you strongly? You must listen to that. We'll say these things again and again to remind ourselves. And what is it that really listens deeply? Not just thinking mind, goes into the heart, stirred, steadied, interested, aroused. Hey, what's going on? This is going a bit deeper. Calm the surface action of the heart and mind. Calm it. You can't solve all those questions and ideas that run around. You'll be chasing them like you're chasing worms, chasing rats around a field. It never stops. You go deeper, steady it. And then you can see more clearly. That's where that came from. That came from a wrong assumption. I really thought that would lead to my benefit. That's what I thought. Wow, what was that? It felt like a grabbing. Yeah, I thought that would make me happy. What was that? It felt like a grabbing at something. I was grabbing a dream, grabbing an emotion, grabbing a picture. I was grabbing at a fantasy. Yeah. You get familiar with that, grabbing at a fantasy. You say, what happens if you don't grab it? Fantasy just boop. Just like a dream. We all have fantasies, wishes, dreams, hopes. Yeah. How many of them really you want to carefully hold with mindfulness rather than grab? Okay? So, you have a wish, I wish to develop this, then hold it, consider it wisely, hold it with mindfulness. Mindfulness allows wisdom to occur. It's not a blind grabbing, it's a sense of composed, clear attention, constantly listening to the results, constantly listening to the attitudes that are coming up. How is this? And adjusting it. Grabbing is just a blind grab. So when we acknowledge this kind of habit happens, we say, let me refrain from this. Why does this habit happen? Well, because of ignorance. But you see, it's also encouraged. It's quick. It's convenient. It's quick, it's convenient, it's comfortable, grab it. Okay? It's quick, it's convenient, it's comfortable, push the button. If it's quick, it's convenient, it's comfortable, it's for your welfare, push the button. Don't give yourself a chance to look at it, just push the button. Just click the card. Yeah. It's quick, it's convenient, it's comfortable. Everybody else is doing it. Dharma is not quick, not convenient, not comfortable. But it leads to deep comfort of self-reliance, clarity, dignity, strength. Mm-hmm. This world you know, sometimes you have to be very patient. That's good karma too. You could, you could get indignant and angry and upset. You say, oh yeah, stuff happening. Thank you. High-speed world. It's done. Venerable Nipiko and I were finding, we move at slow, we move at bhikkhu speed. So often you're trying to open a door and you can't, because you've got to quick. And you've got to get through a turnstile, quick. You can't, because everything's moving, you're going quick. And you're also getting stuck indoors, and you couldn't get them open and closed quick enough. Everything's pushing you along. So, change speed, gain authority over speed, gain authority over where you're going. Prepare to wait. Let things pass. We don't gain authority, we're just like stuff blown in the wind. And the winds of the world do not lead to Nibbana. So you must gain authority. Fortunately, we have a way that gives that possibility. This we call meditation, and of course there are many systems of meditation. But I'd like to present something, hopefully, that is quite simple, doesn't require too much thinking or too much refinement, but simple, kind of manageable way to just steady yourself. And you're using your body. Yeah. This is the last piece of nature that we have access to. Everything else is made of concrete, steel and silicon. We still have one of these things. And they're alive. And they have an intelligence. This does not wish to lie. It's in no hurry. You can rely upon the rhythm and energy of your body, And if you bring your attention to the energy in your own body and compose your own body steadily, the energy of your body will gradually, if you listen to it carefully, but with nothing else, and just give yourself to that, it will begin to slow your thinking mind down. It will begin to give you this sense of stability. You begin to get a sense of stability whereby you can then resist unskillful thoughts and linger deeply into what's calm and steady and for your welfare and nourishment. So let's take some time for direct practice. I call it direct practice. I'd like you to, since you've been sitting for a while, and most of you will probably associate meditation with sitting, which is obviously very important, but I'd like to present some standing meditation. And why? Well, it helps to physical relief. Sometimes the pressure on your back is taken away because you're using your legs and your feet to support yourself. So you can relax your shoulders much more readily. And when you're standing, you begin to use the body to very immediately resolve two fundamental problems with meditation. One is sleepy, drowsy, sitting there and gradually folding up. You can't do that when you stand because your body won't allow it. You'll say if you do that you're going to fall over, so your body pulls you up. The other thing it helps to resolve is restlessness, where the mind is buzz, 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 buzz. And although this is not so easy, because our minds are innately busy, particularly in this modern world, but instead the very strong presence of the body when you stand, you really know it's there, helps to give you a place where you can give attention to just withdraw from the buzz of the thinking, organizing mind. Because there's nothing to think about and nothing to organize. And at first that feels kind of strange, like, what am I supposed to do? You're already doing it. You're already doing it. Now give more attention to balance. Spreading your weight evenly over the feet. give your attention to making that balance as relaxed as possible by relaxing the muscles that you don't need to use. Clearly you don't need anything in your face. So you relax around your eyes, your cheeks, your jaws. There's nothing there that's going to help you stand up. Let your face go loose. You don't need anything in your shoulders. Drop your shoulders. Let your arms come away from the side of your body, so you give them plenty of room to drop. Let your arms be long, as your fingers are like wet rags, just loose, not busy. Okay. Now when you take energy out of muscles that you don't need, because all those muscles that you were using that you didn't need still took up energy. But you didn't know you were doing it. You weren't doing it. It was just this built in. So when you relax this involuntary effort, you've got a lot more energy. It needs to know where to go, so you breathe it down your body, into your legs, into your feet. That's where you want the strength. That's where you want the strength, down your legs and in your feet. When you come down your legs, they're going to be a lot stronger if the knees are slightly bent, because then, as if you're ready to jump, not stiff. So you could even just wiggle a little bit. And between your legs and your shoulders, you have the torso. Most important area, diaphragm and the abdomen. And often this area in our body, our belly, is slightly tense. For various reasons. So you make a conscious effort or inclination, just breathe deep, let the breathing gradually deepen and relax in your belly. As you're relaxing what you don't need, give more attention, balance. And this is the legs, the feet, and then perhaps more subtle, your spine. Your spine is helping to keep your chest open. Bring energy into your spine, so your head doesn't drop forward. When you're strong spine, strong legs, strong feet, relaxed front, face, your breathing goes deep. Breathing in, you let it happen. And you relax another very important feature, which isn't so much muscle, it's psychology. We are great doers. We do. We think, we talk, we organise, we remember, we plan. We adjust, you criticise, you plan, you scheme. What this you choose, this, that. Then you meditate, this, that. What happens if you just take that do attitude and say, just take a break. And instead, listen. Not listen with your ears, listen with the heart. How am I feeling? How does it feel? I stand, let the breathing happen. How does it feel? Today I've determined truth, harmlessness, restraint, clarity. How does it feel? How does it feel? Just to allow one breath to come all the way in, as long as you like, as long as it wants to, at its own speed. And to travel out as long as it wants to, at its own speed. By connecting attention to that. That kind of speed, that kind of process. tricky sometimes, valuable, really valuable. So for the next few minutes, continue standing, or if you prefer to sit down, if your legs are feeling unsteady, or you like to take this into sitting, we'll have another 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes for this silent practice.